We're live. Hi, guys. Okay, we're gonna give some people some time to join us. It's gonna be a good live tonight, guys. I'm really excited. I'm gonna answer lots of questions on a very controversial topic. Let's see. Okay. Carla's in the house. Ready? Here we go. Hi, guys. Where's everyone from? I want to know where everyone's from.
Okay, hold on.
There she is.
Trying to get, there we go. Perfect. Can you guys
You're
see
all set?
me okay?
Yeah, I can see you.
All right, let me just move this back. There we go.
How are you, friend?
I'm amazing. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. Hi, Steve.
Hi.
How are you?
Amazing. I'm so proud of you guys.
Oh, I'm so proud of her. Carla's just like killing it. This course is just, oh my God, I'm so excited. I wonder how many people have actually already started it today. Like a lot of those early risers.
Messages with like little clips of like where they are, and they're just like, oh my God.
I love it when people start posting.
But I have to go like eat or pick up my kids.
Yeah. I love when they start posting their certificates. That's my favorite because I'm like, yes, they did it. Oh, Carla's mama.
Hi, Mama.
Aww.
I
I bet you my mom will be in here too, I'm sure.
She practiced this morning at like 8 a.m.
Aww.
Hey, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. Oh, we've got lots of people joining, so we'll just give people a few more minutes to join. You work today, Carla?
All day.
All day, baby.
Started at 9 and I ended about an hour ago.
Aww. And so, now we're here.
Yeah, exactly. And we were doing, little things obviously for the launch throughout a lot of fun.
Yeah, you guys have been busy. Hi, guys. Awesome. Okay, well, we don't want to waste anybody's time. We want to get into the good stuff. So as you guys know, Carla has created an incredible course, 2 incredible courses, but one that we're really focusing on right now, which we just launched today, and that is the Dark Lips course, which is really focused on hyperpigmentation and melanin-rich lips. And she is the queen of dark lips. She really is. Her work is just phenomenal, and I'm sure you guys know that. I'm sure you guys follow her, and you see all of her amazing transformations that are just completely mind-blowing. Even to someone who's been in the industry for as long as I have, I'm still always like, whoa, that's crazy. So
since I
and you've just spent so much time. We keep talking about how this is like having a baby, right? Like,
no, I'm starting to think it was easier, and my baby was born at 23 weeks. So that's a lot.
I know it is. It's like you put your heart and soul and so many nights and hours and days and months and years of experience into these courses. So today is like, you get to finally take a breath.
Yeah. It's, and it's one thing to do, right? And a whole other thing to make what you do translatable to an educational platform and online, which is even trickier. And I took my years of teaching experience and put that into this as well. And it's a labor of love for me. I truly love to teach, and it's, as my mother would say, and she's on here, it's a gift. And I love using it to allow people to become their best artist and to give them that access. There's a lot of courses, and I've taken many, and I know you have as well, where like you're just watching somebody do something and trying to pick up the little tidbits that make that part of your repertoire, and it doesn't always work. And you really need to have somebody who really wants to teach you what they do. And unfortunately, there's a little kind of a gap in the industry there, where some people either don't truly want somebody else to learn what they do, or They just don't know how to translate it very well. So I poured my heart and soul into making this really accessible. I've given it to people who have absolutely no PMU experience whatsoever, and was like, what did you learn when you read this?
Yeah.
And, you know, that was my test for each and every one of those chapters and lessons. So that was really important to me. Not just the course, but it being accessible for people.
I think a lot of this industry, people want to copycat. It's like, okay, what color did you use? What needle did you use? But it's so much more than that. You want to teach people the how and the why, not just this. There's no magic recipe. There is no easy answer to permanent makeup. There really isn't.
There really isn't. And especially lips. You know, a lot of people don't know. So fun fact about lips, no two lips are alike. They're like fingerprints. And you can't use a cookie cutter approach here. All right, you might get lucky and it may work, but it's only working because you're lucky. And that's not a good approach when you're working with somebody's face.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's just so much more to it.
And I want people to own that knowledge for themselves, right?
Yeah.
So can they be put against a case that is unique or different and know that they were educated to make a decision? And if they are stuck or have trouble, know that they have access.
It's
ask the question.
That transferable knowledge that sits back here, that it's permanently there, so that no matter what walks into your studio, you know, no matter what the client looks like, what situation they have going on, you have that knowledge in there that you can pull from to figure it out. Yeah.
And you can answer the how or the why, you know, to your client. Because, you know, big question, especially when we're dealing with something like dark lips. And I know that we're going to use that kind of umbrella term. And when I say that term, I really do mean, you know, hyperpigmentation or melanin rich lips. And there is a very distinctive difference there. But we'll kind of make it shorter and call it dark lips. It's a hot topic, and it's a really sensitive procedure to do. And it's very important to really have and own that, to be able to talk to your clients about what their expectations are and what you're really able to provide, and you know, what the true nature of this actually is.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys, we're probably going to have some questions that come in. So feel free to ask them as we go, or if you want to wait until the end, you can put them in the end, and then we'll kind of answer any questions that come in. But we're just going to talk a little bit about dark lips, about this course. Let's start with, like, who would be a good candidate to learn this technique?
So I really do think that experience is required when it comes to lip PMU. So for starters, this course is taught, I call it Dark Lips Fundamentals because, this is the fundamental of the dark lip treatment, but it's not fundamentals from the start. So if you have no experience in lip PMU, this probably isn't where you want to start. Shay has an incredible online lip blush course. You can come take a lip blush course in person with me, with Shay, there's a billion really talented artists out there who teach all over the world. But you need to definitely have not only a solid understanding of lip blush, and I hate to use like the term time, right? Because you can pick this up, some people pick it up quickly, some people need more time. But if you are experiencing trouble with saturation, if you're experiencing trouble picking your pigments, if you don't really understand your needles or your machines, you're kind of still using, like, you know, one of those battery operated PMU. Like, these aren't going to work for dark lips, right? You know, those PMU pens are great for practice and stuff like that. They're great for, you know, brows and like even lip blush, but, you know, working with dark lips, that's just not something, you know, this is going to be an investment for people. And I don't think that they realize that either, right? It's not just as simple as just getting an orange pigment and learning what you're doing. This is going to be an investment in your tools. It's going to be an investment in your needles. It's going to be an investment in your pigments and your education and your practice, your time. You're not going to take this course on Wednesday and take dark lip clients on Friday. That's not going to happen.
Absolutely.
Respect. So the experience level, if you are, you know, not having trouble with saturation, your clients are coming back with healed results that not only do you want to see, but they want to see. So they came to you and they said, I want a natural look, and that's what you gave them, you're doing good. If they said they wanted a natural look and you gave them full-on lipstick, you know, you might want to practice a little bit more in those fundamentals before you take something like this, because there's no margin for error when you work with hyperpigmentation dark lips. There's truly no margin for error with lips, but you can always go back and touch up your work, maybe pigmentation. With hyperpigmentation, if you're working in the wrong area of the lip, you're really gonna ruin somebody's day.
Yeah. Hi guys, everyone that's joining now. Yeah, I think it boils down to confidence. And like you said, confidence can take time. It can just take experience. It's, you know, it's not something we can put your name on a certificate and give you confidence. That does take time. You have to earn it. You have to put in the work, right?
Yes. Like, you know, sketching, like all these fundamental skills should be something that you really own. And listen, you can take this course and you can say, oh my God, this is a lot of information over my head, and you can come and see me. And it's, you know, we can do a one-on-one. You know, there's definitely a lot here. I don't think people realize how in depth this truly is.
No.
And, I think that's kind of been dusted under the rug with the industry. And, you know, I aimed to change that. I really did. So I think you did. You absolutely did. And it's hard for you and me to even articulate to people or to put into a post without showing them the inside of the course, how much knowledge is actually in there. Yeah. It is so much more than a video tutorial, you guys. It's a lot of science. It's tons of experience to back it up, you know. I've been working on dark lips behind the scenes for 2 years now, and you won't see me post a lot about it on my page, but I'm starting to, because I had to put in the time. I put in the time, and now I'm so excited to be working with you and to bring this out. Took me the better part of a year. It's something that Harvard Medical actually said was one of the least understood parts of the human body, actually inside here. And it took conversations with surgeons and doctors and lip specialists and picking the brains of master injectors all over the world, like people who truly deal. And honestly, they all had these big question mark bubbles over their heads. They were like, I don't know. It's not even in my medical books. Like we had developed this stuff from scratch. And it took a lot of time and a lot. And like you said, it's really rich in all of that science because of this. It was super important for me that people really understood. Yeah. I
like going through the course myself as many times as I did. I can't imagine what questions people might have afterwards, because anytime you come up with a question, it's there. It's like you just hit next chapter and you're like, oh, okay. Like there's so much, and stuff that you wouldn't even consider asking questions about is in there. It's incredible. I'm just so excited for those of you that are thinking about taking it. So Carla, let's talk about, I know we said before, like we've got this umbrella of dark lips, as we call them. But inside of that umbrella, there are 2 factors, hyperpigmentation and then melanin rich. So can we just talk a little bit about the difference? Because a lot of people don't necessarily know that there is a difference. They just think it's dark lips.
Right, of course. So melanin rich and hyperpigmentation. Melanin rich are, you know, you usually see this in your darker Fitzpatrick skin tones. And even though we do not choose pigment color by skin tone, especially in my courses, there is definitely, you can identify whether it's melanin rich or hyperpigmentation a little bit this way, although you can get both. So melanin rich is someone who is ethnically and genetically predispositioned to having an increased amount of melanin in their lips. Like, as you can see, just looking at you and I obviously have more melanin in my skin than you do. My lips are naturally a little bit darker underneath my PMU than yours probably are. Hyperpigmentation is the word given when someone has damage that has caused and created the melanin to react in the skin. So damage, for example, comes from UV, could be sun. Smoking is a good one. There are some medical conditions out there. There are some medications like chemotherapy, things like that, that can affect the melanin in the skin, causing that darker skin tone. Now people would say to me, well, does that mean that everybody, you know, fits 1 through 4 is hyperpigmentation, 4 and up is melanin rich? And the answer is no. However, you can have someone who has both melanin rich and hyperpigmentation, and that happens to be one of my live demos. In the class, I work on somebody who is melanin rich with hyper and hypopigmentation, and I work on somebody who is hyperpigmented but who is on a darker skin tone. So you can see both, and it's important you're able to identify it. And people ask, well, how can I identify it? One of the easiest ways is your questionnaire. You know, I ask people if they're smokers. I ask people if they've ever had sunburn on their lips, or if they've ever, you know, the one girl in the video, she was a picker. She would rip skin on her lips and cause scarring, which caused all these dark marks on her. So people who are prone to cold sores.
I was just going to say cold sores.
So yes, there are two definite differences, but they are relatively treated the same. Hyperpigmentation, you need to be careful, and we go over why in class, because they are a little bit more predisposed to something called PID, post-inflammatory disorder. So obviously they inflame and they have hyperpigmentation. So you need to be a little aware of that, but we go over the how and the why in class.
Yeah, and we've seen, I mean, I think all of us have seen some of those horror photos that are, you know, circulating around Google Images of what can go wrong.
Absolutely.
With this procedure if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, and a lot of that is, not knowing what you're doing. A lot of that is technique at that point. And it's unfortunate, and for what you guys really need to know is it's not fixable. If it's bad enough and the damage is bad enough, it's permanent. So you really need to practice, not on your clients.
No. Yeah, don't worry. We set you up for success though. So
absolutely.
We're not going to steer you wrong.
Listen, I'd rather tell people, I'd rather have people respect it.
Definitely.
And
the fear is real, and it should be, you know, like we have to take this, we have to take every client very seriously, but these cases they're more advanced. There's more risk involved.
And I tell my clients all the time, like even with me, there's always a risk, and it's in the class as well. There's always a risk.
Okay, so I saw a question come in about which pigments do you recommend, which we definitely go over all of that. Carla goes over all of that in the course, but let's talk a little bit about orange pigment, you know, like Orange Crush, for instance, the famous Orange Crush. You know, let's talk about why orange isn't always the answer.
Okay, so orange isn't always the answer because of undertone in the lip. So the reason orange became a popular go-to is because if you want to correct blue and you're looking at a painter's color wheel, the complementary color for orange is blue. So you mix blue and orange and you get a subtle brown. Unfortunately, the lips aren't actually blue. So a derivative with orange in it based on the undertone of the lip can give you the correct nude for a person. But what I see a lot of healed result wise with people just using like Orange Crush or just a straight up orange, there's tons of different kinds of oranges out there. They heal like a corally orangey pink, and it's not what your clients really want. That's just what they've been told is the best case scenario for them, but it's just not true. In this course, I go over with you guys the 8 most common undertones, 4 for hyperpigmentation and 4 for melanin rich lips, and I teach you specifically based on whatever shade you find in the most dominant undertone exactly what pigment color you should be aiming for. Now, that means it's not brand specific. I do list the brands I use and the colors I use in those brands to make those colors, but every single lip that I do is custom blended. I look at the undertone and I match the corresponding complementary color to that undertone to give them the appropriate nude for their skin, for their lips. So it's a little bit of mixology, I guess, but one orange pigment isn't going to do it.
But the way that you present it is phenomenal. So you have created 2 things. Number 1, the lip scale.
Yep.
which is something that you guys can print out. You can keep with you. You can put it in a frame. You've got it forever and for always, and you can reference it with every client.
Yeah.
And then you've got the color chart that is literally as simple as taking the lip scale, matching it to your client, and it's right in front of you. It is so easy, you guys. Carla has made it. It's what? It's Battleship. Yeah.
Battleship.
It is. So that to me, and I was just writing up a post that I'll be making in a couple days about it. That to me is the money. Like that is the money information that everybody wants and has been asking for and needs when it comes to color theory. The way that you break it down is like we talked about, it's transferable. It's with you forever, and it's transferable to every single client that you have.
You'll be able to go across your pigment lines and, you know, use, you know, I have, I don't know, 15 pigment brands that I, you know, depending on what colors I need, I create. And yeah, that's what gives me, you know, people always say, how do you get such a natural tone? And that's the trick. So yeah, one color is not going to do it.
Yeah, there's a ton of amazing color theory information in this course, but Carla goes even more in depth into color theory in general for lips, for everybody's lips, not just darker lips.
Yep.
In the Read My Lips course, which is also available for purchase. You guys can check it out on Carla's website or on mine, on Shay Danielle Academy online. It's there as well.
Yeah,
so
and I find that really useful twofold, because now your clients who you've camouflaged, I like to use that.
There you go.
And I'm not a big fan of the word correction because there's nothing wrong with corrected.
Yeah.
That camouflage now is giving you a nude base.
Exactly.
And the client's like, okay, well now I have a nude base, and now I can be creative, and I want that pinker pout, or I want the Read My Lips color theory to give them that end.
Yeah, they go hand in hand beautifully. So we actually have a bundle option in case you guys want to grab both of the courses, and you save $200 if you buy them together, because like Carla said, step one is the camouflage or the neutralization of their lips. Step two is now basically treating them as a standard lip blush and building from neutral. So it's really great to have both of those courses in your back pocket to reference.
Without a doubt.
Okay, so let's talk about some of the challenges you have faced when it comes to dark lips, some of the harder things that you've experienced. That's the nice thing about these online courses, is everybody is learning from our mistakes, right? Like our hardships.
So I get, it's kind of a little bit of twofold. So there's the practice side, and then there's like the world side. So, you know, as dark lip artists, you're going to be up against some heavy scrutiny. And that's something that's really important to understand. And you have to definitely be ethical here, and you have to respect what you're doing as far as the treatment, and be careful with the words you choose and things like that. So that's definitely one of them. From a working perspective, the challenges are, you know, some of the lips are just sizable, I guess is a good way to determine it. And, you know, I was used to doing treatments in one, maybe two sessions. And when you're working with melanin rich lips and hyperpigmented lips, you really need to set expectations with your clients. And you have to be very comfortable and confident doing that. And when I first started doing this, I tried to make it easier, I guess, of a process. And I realized that by doing so, I was cutting myself short as an artist. And I think that was one of the things I went up against the most, because listen, sometimes, you know, lips are 4 times what I've got on my face, and that's, you know, you're figuring, you know, the surface area is going to take you 2 hours to do on somebody my size. You're looking at 4 or 5 hours on the table, and the stamina that you need to develop for that, and your client needs to be comfortable. So, you know, being realistic and separating that into 3 treatments or 4 treatments, and not having that Instagram perfect photo the first session. And I talked to Steve a lot about this, about scalp. You know, you look at scalp photos online, and they've got a full head of dots. And, you know, 6 months down the road, it's not what they wanted from a healed result. So one of the biggest difficulties here is knowing that enough is enough when you do it. And it's okay that they look sheer, and it's okay that, you know, the color is going to bloom in a few days, and you don't need to have this, you know, markered color. It's not like a lip blush, and you know, getting used to the differences there, that was a big one.
Yeah.
You're working with some larger surface area, and you're going to be working, you know, very, very diligently, and it's going to take a lot of your focus. So, you know, I still stop at, you know, 2 hours. You know, that's, you know, I know that's the right way to say it, but
yeah.
2, 3 passes max, and you know, that's where we're going to stop, and you're going to come back in 4 to 6 weeks, and 4 to 6 weeks if you need to, and 4 to 6 weeks if you need to.
Yeah.
So.
That's awesome information right there. I think everybody, sometimes they're so focused on getting that shot, that perfect shot that I can post later today and fill up my feed. That's not what this is about. This is sometimes a longer term process. You need to take your time. You need to be patient. You need to respect that for the client and for yourself. So I think that we need to understand that going into it. This isn't an instant eyebrow that they get and then they walk out. It is a process, and we have to respect the process and understand that it's going to take time, but in the long run, it's going to be amazing and life-changing for that client.
Exactly. And the client needs to come first at all times. And you just need to be comfortable with the artist and confident in yourself, and, you know, be a little patient, like you said.
So you mentioned earlier that you use sometimes different machines, different needles. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and why maybe you don't use the wireless, you know, machines that are out there and things like that?
I cover this in a very serious detail in course, so I'll just kind of skim across. But like the PMU pens, they, you know, they're you know, they get white labeled and aftermarketed. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. You know, they have setting like 1, 2, or 3 on them. This is not going to work here. It doesn't have enough power. The needle set's not right. You need a fully adjustable machine. And I mean, speed wise, I mean, you know, you need to be able to adjust the length of your needle. Your cartridges need to be interchangeable. You know, I do use a wireless machine. It happens to be the Flux S, but this is a machine built with the appropriate amount of torque. And, you know, you need to be able to understand things like stroke and torque, and it's critical that you have this under your belt, and that you understand that I use multiple machines for different clients for different reasons. We're talking lip size, natural lip volume, filler, you know, all these things come into play, and they cause me to switch my machine for various reasons. Mostly because the stroke length is not adjustable in a lot of machines. The Zion is, but different machines come with different strokes, and I've actually had one of my machines modified in its stroke length. But I digress. You also need different needles. I use 1-round liners. I use 7-round shaders. I've used the 7 mags. Let's see. You know, you need to be able to switch and swap. And a lot of these PMU pens, they come with a 1-round, and I think they're 0.25. I mean, some of them are, some of them aren't. Some come 30s. You know, they're coming out of China. They're just this is an advanced procedure, and you really need to invest in good equipment here. It's not something you can get away with a $100 machine you got on Amazon. It's just that simple.
Yeah, so if any of you guys are like looking confused or feeling a little confused when you're hearing stroke length and torque, this is it's all in the course. So this is knowledge that you can take outside of just lips as well, right? This is machine and needle knowledge that is transferable for all PMU.
Machine and needle theory. I usually teach it in my fundamentals class. And, you know, people are always asking me, why don't I include a machine with my classes? I don't include machines because everybody's hands are different. Everybody works differently. And it's important to be able to feel and to understand what works for you. So I have a myriad of things for people to try. And I do understand that that's not always available for you guys, but I go over each one of the machines that I have here in the studio and why I use them and what I use them for in class. So that way, maybe, you know, you can kind of get an idea of what it is that, you know, you would like to use. I use 4 different machines, I think.
Yeah. I have like a closet of machines. Like if you came here, it's like I have more machines than I do shoes, I think, because I like to try everything. And like Carla said, like what works for one person might not for the other.
Really don't work for this because I can't adjust it enough. Anything that's got presettings, like brow, lip, eyeliner, anything that's preset, it's not going to work. You need, I adjust per client. People always ask me things like, what speed do you run at? I don't know, what time of day is it? How many clients have I done? What
How
are
am I feeling?
Like,
yeah, no, I totally agree. I understand that completely. Okay, so lips can be a little bit tender or painful for some, and for others, you get some snoring like you might see in the course, which I think is so funny when you hit that part of the course and there's the numbing section and your client's like, it is just too much.
Video, I was like, do you mind? She was like, absolutely not, post it. And I was like,
it's so good.
And I was so her up like 15 minutes after that was over, by the way.
Like so you're done.
So yeah, people ask me all the time, like, what do you use for numbing? Okay, guys, I don't numb my clients.
Crazy.
Numbing makes it more painful. Okay, now listen, ladies, and I put this in my facts and questions. If Aunt Flo is coming to town, you need to wait for her to leave. Okay, it's going to make her more. It's going to make them more painful. Period. I had a client in here yesterday who was here for her second treatment, and she's like, "Wow, I didn't feel it at all this time. Last time I felt it. It wasn't like jumping off the table, but I didn't feel it at all." And I asked her, I said, "You know, did Aunt Flo come to town?" She was like, "Yeah. As a matter of fact, I had it when I was on the table." Well, that's kind of why. I know some of you guys are used to snow. I know you know what snow is. Some of you guys have never even seen it. But if you stick your hands in icy cold snow, and you go inside and run them under hot water, it's going to hurt really bad. And that's exactly what 5%, 10%, some of you guys have access to 20, depending on what country you're living in. That's what it does. It's topical. It freezes the top layer of the lip, and I'm not going to use the word epidermis because you'll figure out in class why, but the surface layer of the lip, it makes it icy cold. And when you work on it, it gets hot and it makes things so much worse. So you slap pre-numbing on your client, let it sit for 20 minutes and then run them over with a bunch of needles. They're not going to like you at all. So yeah, I don't numb my clients, and that's why it also turns them into kind of shoe rubber. It's a vasoconstrictor, which is going to make the pigment a lot harder to enter the skin. If you're struggling, and you may either overshoot or undershoot your sweet spot, which I tell you guys all about in class. And when you're working with hyperpigmentation, undershooting and overshooting that spot can be really dangerous. And I don't mean like you're going to hurt somebody. I mean like effectually, it's not going to heal very nice at all. You could definitely hyperpigment somebody by doing that. I do use a little bit, but it's not for numbing. I use it to make the color bloom like that. And I use that for the contour line so I don't overpigment it and it stays invisible. You wipe a tiny little bit around the edge, and all of a sudden you can see where you're working without overpigmenting. And the good news is that it's a vasoconstrictor, so any swelling that may have happened just stopped happening because you shut down the on-label use for 5% lidocaine is to relieve itching, ivy, or mild sunburn. So you now have told your clients that you've numbed them and they're not going to feel anything.
Yes.
That's not the truth. They're going to feel it because you didn't inject them. Now, I do have students who work in doctor's offices, and they do have that privilege of getting injected lidocaine. Then they won't feel anything. They won't feel a darn thing. But since we don't inject our clients with lidocaine, they're still going to feel it. They're not going to understand why, and you're going to have a very, very nervous, very upset person on your table.
Yeah.
So I find managing expectations, like, hey, I'm going to begin
100%.
that. Notice me.
Yep, you're going to feel it a little.
Going to be fine, puts them to sleep.
Yeah.
Instead of telling them that they're not going to feel anything and they feel everything.
It's 100% about managing the client's expectations tenfold. It really is. Some of my students, when they're wiping off numbing, whether it be the brows or the lips, they say, "Oh, I'm numb," the client says. So in their head already, they're thinking they're not going to feel a thing. They feel that needle and it's like, whoa. Now, if you manage their expectations and you go in with no numbing, it's like your body has time to almost adjust, right? Like I stopped numbing or minimized my numbing about a year ago with lips. And for me, it was a huge difference for my clients. And then for the saturation and the whole procedure, it just went completely differently. So
absolutely, try it. I mean, you'll thank me for it. I promise. You'll thank both of us for it. It makes such a difference. It really does. I accidentally stumbled upon it. You know, nobody told me about it, and I had run out.
Oh.
And I had a client on the table, and I just went for it, and she was fine. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, I don't really need this. And then I did a lot of research into why. You know, again, I was taught to use it, and I never asked the question is why. And I know why and the how behind lidocaine and how it works.
And once you understand that sweet spot that you teach in the course, once you understand that, you know, you can more efficiently get into the skin and get out of the skin with the color payoff that you're looking for, without having to ram that needle till they're swollen and they're bleeding like crazy. I mean, some clients are going to swell, but if your technique is correct and you're hitting that sweet spot nicely, the swelling can be quite minimal, you know, or quick, at least, like within a few hours, couple hours, boom, they're back down to normal. So
did tonight, no numbing, it's regular lip blush, but one patch, she was fully saturated.
Yeah, that's how
she was fully saturated.
I had a client that had come in and there was only one tiny section that needed it. So I was like, I'm not gonna numb you. It's just a small area. It was a touch up. And so I did it no numbing. And that's when I was like, whoa, this is crazy.
This is so much quicker and so much
this is awesome. And she was fine, totally fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, if you put numbing on, you'll go home and stick some on yourself, you'll notice it makes that area of your lip very white. And you're competing with that white when you're trying to pick. And a lot of, you know, students are taught, okay, 3 passes. And like, they're like, okay, well, I'm going to do 3 passes. And, you know, and in this class, I try and teach you guys that you just have to look, like, is it saturated enough or not? Like, you know, sometimes you need 1, sometimes you need 5.
No magic answer. Again, there's no magic answer.
And lidocaine messes with that. It messes with your ability to truly see what you're saturating and how it's saturating.
I agree. Oh, everybody's enjoying this information.
My glasses are really good for like here, and they're good for like here. So, yeah, I have to do this to read the.
Permablend says, great info, ladies. We've got a question. Are you using a larger needle configuration using no numbing?
Okay, so larger in diameter, no. Configuration, yes and no. It depends on the client and the lip. With hyperpigmentation and dark lips, I've used everything from a 1-round liner to a 7-round shader, 7 mag. That's kind of the configurations. Those are the go-to configurations that I go to. But diameter-wise, no. And the reason you don't need to go up in diameter is because you're not competing with pores. So the reason for larger diameters, for brows, for example, you have pores on the skin, and the diameter of the needle, the gauge of the individual needle, not the diameter of the configuration, has to be larger than the pore you're trying to pigment. And since lips don't have pores, the slimmer the needle, the better, because it's in and out quickly with a lot less trauma.
Oh, all the questions are okay. So we've got one more thing that we're going to talk about, and then we'll go to answer some questions that we have coming in. But I think it's important to talk a little bit about the healing process for dark lips, melanin-rich lips, hyperpigmentation, how it might differ from standard lip blush.
Yeah. So depending on what you've learned, you know, what technique you're practicing, I know Shay and I both really work with that sweet spot. So I don't see any real crusting or scabbing with my lip blush clients. The next day they're going to see darker, maybe, and then, you know, it takes like 3 or 4 days for the skin to actually heal on the outside, and then it takes about 10 to 15 days for that color to find its stability. When you're working with dark lip clients, it's kind of like that, but a little bit more opposite. So you're going to see, your clients need to be aware that they may see some scary stuff. And by scary, I mean that, you know, the next day the lips are going to be darker from the pigment itself. More bright in the pigment color. Like, for example, if I use peach, that peach is going to be really electric that next day. But after that, it may look like the pigment goes almost white. And then perhaps after that, it looks like their pigmentation has come back and there's no pigment at all. And sometimes their lips even look darker than when they started. And then all of a sudden, everything starts to stabilize and neutralize. But it takes about 30 days for that to happen. There's no scabbing or peeling, but the color is funky for a good 10, 15 days. So when my clients tell me, well, I have a wedding this weekend, I'm like, not the best time to do your lips. But I do have in the case studies some really great clients who took lots of photos for me over the course of their blooming process, so you can see that stability and how that works. And you know, one of my clients, like, she goes like she looks almost full on purple at one point, and then it just pops right back to pink.
And the case studies are so cool, you guys, to see the transformation, the blooming process, the changes that happen. It's like mind blowing. You're like, how could it possibly go from this to this to this and then this? Like, it's
one of my clients, I think she's the first case study. She told me, you know, after she had sent me the photo, she's like, girl, I was terrified. It looked like I was black lipstick for 3 days. I was like, you're going to be fine.
Just trust in the process. Trust in the process. Trust in me.
To tell your clients this ahead of time.
Yes.
Like, don't wait for them to text you.
No, in a panic.
And then have to be like, oh, it's normal. Like,
oh, yeah, that's normal.
Detail. My appointments with my dark lip clients are 4 hours. And it's not because it takes me 4 hours to tattoo them. It's because I talk to them for an hour. And I show them these case studies. It's why I also made these case studies available for you guys, so you can see them. You know, feel free to show them to your clients.
Yeah, save them, download them, and you can showcase them.
Yeah, it's important that they need to understand what they're getting into. They see a before and immediately after a movie healed on an Instagram page, and they don't realize that there's 30, 60 days in between any. And, you know, if you, like, I've got healed results from, you know, a year, 2 years, you know, that camouflage stays intact. That's something they need to be aware of, that the camouflage is going to degrade and the natural lip color is going to come back. This is not a chemical treatment. I am not bleaching anyone's lips. And a lot of people think that. So you need to, you know, really educate here.
Yeah, I think visuals are sometimes so much more powerful than like the verbal explanation of this could happen. This is what you should expect. It's like it goes in here and then it's gone by the time they leave the studio. So really showing them that photo or even sending it to them for that, you know, that confidence to keep them calm during the healing procedure is amazing. And Carla has included those in the course.
Get an email from me and it has a blooming process. It has, you know, their aftercare in a nice little image. And that way, you know, it kind of keeps that, you know, honestly, it keeps them from panicking and calling me really upset. So I'm all about giving people the information.
Where can I download the case studies? So the case studies are images that are inside of the course. They are downloadable, correct, Carla?
Yeah. I'll make sure that they are.
We'll make sure after this, because that's a great idea for them to be able to save to show is awesome. And maybe we might even like post a sneak peek of a case study or something coming up so you guys can see it, because it's pretty phenomenal, some of these transformations. Okay, guys, so that was a lot of info we threw your way. Thank you so much, Carla. It was great. Let's see if we have any questions that came in. I'm just going to scroll here for a second, and if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask them now. Now would be the time. Oh gosh. Okay. Carla is amazing. I've been trained by both of you at different times. It's so cool to see you both together. We're like long way lost sisters, I feel.
Amazing.
Will there be a certificate for completion?
Yes.
Absolutely. And it's such a pretty certificate too. It's really, really pretty.
How do you map lips? So I go over some sketching in this, but like I said, it's not a fundamentals course from a blushing perspective. But I think you have a great section on that in your Blush Online. So yeah, I don't go over in detail for mapping, but there's definitely a lot of good pointers on sketching in here as well.
Yeah, there is. There's lots of great information actually, and the way that you do it, there's something that you use that is like, ooh. I was excited about that myself. I was like really excited about that. So there's a special little something that Carla uses during her sketch that's pretty awesome.
Thank you.
Okay.
Carla, what's the oldest healed result you have seen in dark lip correction? How's the color faded or changed over time? So the oldest I have is 2.5 years. But with all truth being said, she came for her touch-up like a diligent, lovely client at 18 months. So she had a refresher. When she came at 18 months, the camouflage started to degrade around the areas of the highest intensity for the pigmentation. So she was melanin rich, not hyperpigmented. They are slower to return. The camouflage, it holds stronger than with clients who have hyperpigmentation, especially those who have it from the sun, because, well, you're gonna go back outside. So it's not like it changes, the color's not gonna shift, but the camouflage breaks down and what's underneath starts to show through. It gets thin, the veil of it gets thin. And yeah, so if they're diligent and they come, I tell people the word permanent makeup is like the worst thing ever. It's not permanent.
I know.
It's permanent hair color. I colored
like, why do we call it that?
With permanent hair color, but you know what? In like 6 to 8 weeks, those grays are going to be showing back through, and it's not because it's just my regrowth.
Where did your grays go, by the way?
I colored them. My mom threatened.
I liked the gray on you, and you were like, "I'm gonna keep it." And then the next time I saw you, I'm like, "But it's not there anymore."
He's like, "Please." I was like, "Okay."
I liked it. There's a question here. Will you be adding on more to case studies as you come through them? So yes. Will you be adding more?
Absolutely. I have some more coming your way, probably the end of this week, the end of next week. And, you know, as my clients come in, and, you know, I've got a year healed result, 2 year, whatever, it's all going to go in there. It's a living part of that course. And, yeah, that was, I was really proud of being able to offer that. So.
And you know what, guys, also, once you graduate from the online course, you get to join a very exclusive Facebook group, which we're excited for. So what's that?
They'll go in there too, the case studies.
Yeah, so the case studies will also go in there. Any new updated content will be in there. Lots of discussions and a community where you guys can support each other and share case studies of your own with Carla. I'm in there too to pop in and say hi and see how you guys are progressing along the way.
What happens with clients that have different tone of lips? So what you're asking, I'm assuming is, so I call that like high contrast. Right? Mm-hmm. You've got, you know, maybe a super dark upper lip and maybe just in the corners. And so you need to treat the areas, and we go over this in class, you need to treat the areas that are darker, right? Like I said, dark lips are a multiple session or multiple treatment, treatment. Yep. Double negative, but.
Multi-process.
Yeah, treatment. Thank you. Multi-process treatment. You can't just do this all in one shot sometimes. And I do have a demo video in there where I deal with somebody with a very severe contrast, like black on the top, like half of the top, and then hot pink in the center here, and then brown down here on the bottom, and then white here in the center. So you deal with that all almost separately, and you know, different colors based on the color theory charts and things like that. So it's layering. And if you've had the opportunity to take the Areola online class, you know, Shira talks phenomenally about how you have to layer to get results. And it's very similar in some ways to dark lips. You can't just blanket over.
That's why I think it's so amazing that you have included 4 procedures. So with a lot of online courses, you know, you get to watch one procedure, but especially with this topic in particular, every case is so very different, and we really want to make sure you guys
really interesting ones to use and to do. There's one with hyper and hypopigmentation. There's one that is melanin rich with severe contrast. There is a second session, so you can see how kind of I revisit. And then there is one with you know, that blue violet undertone, and you know, I've tried to pick, you know, most clients are mixed undertones too. So I've tried to find ones that were really great examples of that. There's really no cookie cutter here, and you're going to have to think on your feet.
But Carla gives you enough information that you will be able to make those decisions yourself, and you'll be confident with your decisions.
And if you ever have any questions, like Shay said, you know, we have an amazing Facebook group for that too.
Yeah, we're here. We're here for you guys ongoing. And if you guys have taken my courses in the past, you'll know that too. It's not just one and done. I'm always here to support you guys.
So the course is available for 6 months after the date of purchase. You know, if you ever needed an extension, we're not gonna.
Yeah. you just let us know. There was another question, how much is it? So it's on sale, you guys, right now. We just did a promotion because of launch. So you actually get to save $50 on the course, but only until July 9th. So you're running out of time. If you guys want to go grab it, use the discount code DARKLIPS. You can get it on Shay Danielle Academy online, or you can get from micropigmentationuniversity.com, right?
Absolutely. It's $4.99 regular with that $50 off. That bring it to $4.49.
Yep, you bet. Okay, I think that we answered all the questions.
Yeah, unless you guys got another one, and if you do, drop it in. You've got a couple more seconds, and we'll happy to answer them.
I'm going to save this live because it was so awesome, and we went over so much information, and a bunch of people, I saw them all typing, please save this. Will this live be able to replay? Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to save it to my IGTV, and then I'm going to try and send it to Carla so she can maybe post it on hers as well if she needs to, but it will be here.
Awesome. And I also redid the video today for the inside look, because I realized that the camera was kind of askew, so I will get that up on IGTV as well.
Awesome. Awesome.
More about what's in the course and how that works.
It's nice to see that, because it's, again, like I said, it's hard for us to really share that without them seeing, you know, the inside a little bit at least.
Not an easy thing to do.
No, but I know. You did it well. It was good.
Thank you. I mean, I've taken online classes before, and I've been so bummed out.
Well, yeah, right? Because it's
I want to avoid that at all costs. If I was going to do this, I was going to do it right and to my expectations, and I've got high ones. So
yeah, absolutely.
So very welcome. Thank you guys all for joining us. This is
Thank you, Carla. I'm so freaking proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you. Today's a really exciting day. You've worked so hard for it. And like I said, you know, all the people around you that love you are so proud of you and excited for this course to finally get out to the industry. It's about time is all I have to say. So thank you guys for joining us.
And I hope you guys all enjoy it as much as I've enjoyed bringing it and birthing it out into the world. I'm gonna go have a drink now.
Yeah, you need to go put your feet up and relax for the rest of the night.
Exactly. Will you? Yes, numbing cream gets. I go over that in class.
And we talked about it earlier, so if you want to, when I post this, you can rewatch it and check it out. Okay, we love you guys.
Guys, have a great night. Bye.
Bye.